Welcome everyone to Just Equus. We're here at Welsh Horse and Saddle. This is a continuation with our Just Equus forms of people in the industry and people that we should be looking up to in Australia, what they've done themselves, and letting younger people know that they have the ability to progress and to work to these and aspire to these positions that these people have. But with all these things, it comes with hard work. And I haven't talked to not one person yet who has said it's not to do with hard work.
With the explosion of the internet, and everyone's got a right to do what they want, but you see a lot of people practicing, from saddles to making saddles to horse training or whatever, and you've never heard of them or they've never competed or... And I think it can be a dangerous thing because the newcomer into the industry doesn't know that they mightn't be that experienced and never done nothing either.
Yes.
They don't really know who's who in the zoo. So
I like that, yes.
they can get wayward. And I worry about it being in the saddle industry because if someone comes into the horse industry and goes with the wrong people first, then has a bad experience, then we lose them out of that. So they're not buying stuff off us or become a life customer. They've decided to hell with this horse game. It was treacherous. I didn't do no good, and let's go do something else.
And that's what you would do.
So that's a big worry I worry about in the horse, any industry, I guess, but with our game, the horses and all the social media stuff. Because I see stuff all the time. You see stuff, horse stuff, and someone puts a great glossy ad together. Gee whiz, they're good. Never heard of them, but geez, they're good. And, it could be someone else riding around.
Well, I just absolutely I see a fair bit of it because I'm a YouTube looker and look at these things, and it's not so much you're looking out there to see how you're to the others. You're just wanting for more information, and it's a wonderful highway of information. It's just massive, but you have to be able to decipher it, and you've got to have a bit of sort of common sense, which isn't so common. And you've got to be able to go through that, and could only make, like you see someone saddle making in 3 days, or I don't know, I just pulled out my backside, but it doesn't work like that. Nothing. And you said it from the very beginning. We can all just, you can set me up with a bit of leather and cut this, cut that, but then I may build a saddle with you in a week or 2 weeks while you're there over my shoulder. But then let me go down the road. What did we do first? Would not be able to even recall some of those details. I know. And why doesn't it go together now? It's
that's what happens.
Experience.
It's and actually it's funny. I just remembered a story. I helped set up the Outback Spectacular. I'd done 6 months pre-training and 6 months in the show. And
yes.
A bunch of young guys and girls and stuff. And I guess there's a fair few egos there. One fella told me you could shoe a horse in 20 minutes. I said, well, you won't be shoeing any of mine. No. I don't care if you take 3 hours. I said, I want it done right. So speed is not a big thing to me. It is now to me. I'm quick at what I do because I know the process. So I'm quite, we produce a saddle a week, and that's what I work on.
Yes.
But I also, I've got a repair going on in the background if I've got repairs there, or I usually try and do 2 at a time, especially with the cutters. Like I'll cut out 2. I'll start on that one while that one's drying. I'm cutting this out. Sometimes it's easier to cut out 2 at a time. Even if I don't get to it, well, it's ready to go Monday. So I'm constantly stepping along just so we're very efficient in what I do, because you could dawdle around and not be efficient. And working for, a lot of people said to me, how do you work for yourself? Well, you got to be efficient. Like, you got to be no downtime. Like, if you're going to be in here 10 hours, you want to create some stuff to make a living.
Well, efficient and disciplined, like self-discipline, isn't it? That's just, there's no shortcuts from that, is there?
There's no.
You're your own master.
Yeah, because you physically got to work, It's not like, not that I've ever done any office stuff or whatever, but how that works, but
neither do I.
Everything I've done, I've worked with my hands.
Yes.
And there is a fair bit of business, which if you talk to my wife, I hate the business side of things. She will drag me in there, and I've got to sit there with invoices and doing stuff, and I just hate it. Yeah. She knows that. Like, I was a kid that didn't hardly do homework at school. Yes. I was just going to be a bronc riding cowboy, build saddles. It was easy. You had to do that business stuff, but you do. There is a big element of the business stuff. But I'm lucky that she does a lot of that for me, and we've got it set up pretty good. And I guess the business side of it is me going to trade shows and talking to people. Yeah. Doing that, and that's probably the best thing I've done, really.
Yes.
You know,
getting out of, not so much getting out of here, but going out and looking and just seeing what the rest of the
Yeah.
community in the saddle world are doing and
and
what
not
they're
so
looking
much,
for.
Yeah, and letting people come to talk to me when they want to buy
Yeah.
something. You know, a lot of my clientele you don't get to meet, but a lot of them I know them because I'm at them big events. So you go there and you listen to them and
Yep.
you create a relationship, and they know that I'm there every 6 months at Tamworth, and then we do Warwick too, which is in October. So
People appreciate that, don't they?
Yeah, you're
They
convenient.
do. I don't care how many times you text a message.
Yeah,
Sitting face to face
Yeah.
and having a conversation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times it'll lead to things that you didn't even think you would bring up.
Yeah.
What are a couple of the most memorable horses? They can either be a bronc or a ridden horse,
Yeah.
one from each thing, that you rode that sort of, if you sort of cast your mind back, it would come to the top very quickly and you'd go, oh, that horse. Or maybe there's a few, or... Yeah.
I know in the rodeo game, there's a few. There's a few.
Yes.
There's a horse, and we only spoke about a horse the other day at a good friend of ours' funeral. He was a bronc rider too. It was a horse called Crisscross.
Okay.
That was a proper handful, and in my era when I was rodeoing, and she hadn't been rode for 2 years, and I was one of her victims too, and I ended up riding her after 2 years, and I'd tried everything to ride the horse, and that was when I was in my prime. Like she was a proper handful, and I won the bronc riding on her both times. I got on her 5 times. I rode her twice.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, a proper handful, and yeah, she was a handful. So that was a pretty rank horse in the bronc riding back in that day. And then a funny story, when I was only a rookie, like a young fella in Canada, I went all the way up to a place called Kispiox in Canada, in British Columbia, which is up right in the Northwest Territories. I think they're only like 8 hours from Alaska.
Oh, really? Yes.
Anyway, went up there and got on this horse, and big stud horse he was. He's a monster. Horse called Hawk. And it's funny with their accents, because I said to another Aussie mate, he said, what horse are you getting on? I said, I'm getting on a horse called Hawk. Because they kept saying Hawk, because them Canadians, they say Hawk, they
I
say
didn't
Hawk.
know that, but it's funny.
Yeah, and I'm going, I'm getting on a horse called Hawk. Yeah, some Hawk. He said, Hawk, you rabbit. Oh, okay. Hawk. So I got this big stud horse. Anyway, the American, I forget which contractors, one of the top American contractors, flew up that weekend to come and watch him buck. And this is 93. Man, that big horse I've never been on something so quick and fast. Spurred him out, and the next jump, he flipped me over the top of him that hard. I still had a hold of the rein. I landed on my back, and I remember he jerked the rein out of my hand. Anyway, the contractor came to me later and said, thank you, Aussie, for making that horse look good. I said, oh, yeah. He said, that contractor just paid $10,000 US for him back in 93.
Really? No, that's what I know. Yeah.
I said, yeah, I didn't even see which way he went.
And he was a stud.
Big stud, yeah. Big stud horse. Yeah, Hawk. I forget his breeding, but, they've been breeding him over there. But, and, and there's been some great bucking horses. I know I got on some good ones. I always just like get on. There's a good ones in the 90s I was getting on of Gary McPhee's, like the Isa horses.
Yes.
The Isa Queen I'd won a lot of money off, and Floozy, and them sort of horses were great.
Yeah.
Just fun, really bucky, but you'd stub your toe, they'd throw you off, but if you rode them, you won. Wow. So those are always good horses in any discipline is good, and they were just great horses to get on.
Yes.
My personal horses, I had some great horses over the years that I've really enjoyed.
Yes. Anything as a kid? Start from when you're a kid, like.
Yeah, I really learnt. My biggest memory as a kid, from, I probably 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'd done a lot of work riding horses, because we had compulsory dipping at Clover where I grew up, or Angry. So every 6 weeks, we'd be dipping cattle and running them from all over the village to the local dips. So I had an old a stock horse called Red. He was a very well bred horse and very cowy, but he's one of them old pulling horses.
Yeah.
And he had me that fit. I was like one of them jockeys, like my arms that fit as a kid growing up. And he was just one of them horses, and he'd go all day. So, Red was probably my first horse, and he was kind of like for a stock horse, he was kind of like that. They'd rode a lot of like Laponia style stock horses over the border because of their mountains.
Ah, right.
I mean, he was like, you'd stick him over a cliff, like it'd be nothing. As a kid, that's what you used to do.
Yeah.
Some really crazy stuff. But so they weren't the big rangy stock horses. They were more the mountain stock horses.
Yeah.
And he was almost like a little cutting horse, like that's that style of horse he was. because them big horses, you'd bring them big horses down in the mountains, they'd fall over on you. So these little things are like little bobcats.
Well, their cannon bones wouldn't put up with it too
Yeah,
much.
that's
Those
a big
horses,
thing.
you know, they'd be sure-footed too, wouldn't they?
Oh, they're tough little horses. So he was one, and there's been some great ones over there. I tell you, it's funny. When I started riding the better bred horses, I was actually doing some pre-training for Frank Green.
Really? Yeah.
And it's back when, like, Pepto Stylish Oak, his first batch of babies, I got to start them.
Yes.
And when I started them colts, like, I thought, oh my God, I'm a trainer. Like, they just made you feel so good. Like, you just go to sit down, like, give it the second or third ride, you just, you stop riding and just sit down, and they just stop, and you pluck a nose, and they just come across themselves. And I thought, oh my God. I said, I'll never ride another horse that ain't bred again.
Yes.
Like, they were great. And then I've got my brood mare, she's an Acres Destiny, so I bred a couple of good Acres Destinies, and that gelding that Lachlan's got, like, he's probably one of my favourite geldings.
He's a great gelding.
Just a good all-round horse. I could rope off him. I could lay him down if I needed to. He'd been on film sets too.
Yeah.
Just a real cool dude, and a real calculating horse. If you're ever around him a lot, as I said to him, he's watching you and working you out. Like, if you left the gate open, like, he's just one of the horses. You can just see it ticking over. Like, he's probably too clever for his own good. In a devious way, he's not it was never a mean horse.
No.
He's just watching, like, so you had to be better than him.
Yes.
Otherwise he's going to put it all over you. And he just picks his mark. And they're funny horses like that, like, just one of them real calculating sort of horses. Yes. I'm really liking it at the moment. I got a Time's Up.
Righto.
I love him. And gentle. I look now at horses are quiet, that are not hot. That I don't have to ride every day to go compete because of the kids too. So they've been great. And I just got a little SR Instant Choice. I bought off Peter Schumack. He's just a little 3-year-old. I bought him for my daughter. And he's a little bit littler. And he's having a bit of fun. I got the word the other day that I've only got this year to season him out, and she's thinking I'm loving him too much. Oh. But he's been a great little horse. But so I look at them little cutting horse geldings, just because they're quiet. I don't want kids. I don't really want my kids to grow up to be bronc riders. I want them. I grew up being a bronc rider because I rode a lot of crap horses that bucked. So now, I reckon we're living in the most exciting times. The horses that people are riding, just at the level at our club over here, our cutting club next door, the horsepower that people have got. It's not that they're bad horses, it's phenomenal. They're bred, like, these are imported horses and from imported horses and stuff, and they're all cowed up like Cowie, and gee whiz.
It's exciting, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's raised the bar of what, how people compete. And with the internet and stuff, like, people ask me about cutting and stuff. I said, well, there's that much resource now, like on YouTube, there's clinic stuff, there's some real good stuff, and educate yourself.
Yeah. How
to train a horse, like, you get a lot of stuff off them deals.
And it's interesting, because before you said we were getting people in the industry, and if they're with the wrong people, they want to leave the industry. But when, like you said, but the people's breeding has improved that much with their horses, that you're getting people in there going, hey, loving this, want to do this, and it's only going to grow, isn't it?
I say too, I know that the content that's on cutting alone, or any Western performance, horse, cow, horse, or whatever, I guarantee, and I haven't even looked at it, but I guarantee, and I know nothing about dressage, but if I wanted to go do dressage, I reckon I could Google enough to know that I'd know what clothes to wear and what gear to wear and rock up there and not look like a total goose straight
Absolutely.
up. If I wanted to be studious and study it,
yes,
to get myself into, looking like one of the
crew.
Grand
Prix riders, yeah, absolutely.
And not that I could be a rider like that, but I'm just saying, but it'd get
you wouldn't feel out of it. You'd walk in there and feel part of the team.
Exactly, and understand what's going on, study the rules, study what they do. And that's what I tell people with cutting, like when you're a raw beginner, they say, oh, I'm just coming to learn. I said, well, there's so much resources on YouTube and stuff now. Get yourself to that level and watch that, and learn all the rules. Like, all the rules of cutting are on there. All the resources are there. Get yourself to that level if you're keen, then go from there.
That's excellent advice. I never even thought that's
Educate
really
yourself.
good advice.
Yeah, and the same with saddle making too. If you're really into it, there's so many resources there to get you up to that, get you up to speed to where you can probably go learn and stuff. I'm not saying you can learn everything on there, but it's so much information now, and if you seek the right information, then you start working out what's right or wrong. You know, you soon learn who's who in the zoo. I always say,
Yes,
it stands out.
absolutely.
If you're smart enough, it all stands out. Like you go to a horse event, the best guys stand out. You know, everyone stands out.
Yeah.
And you work it out from there, and
yeah.
so,
And they're pretty approachable. That's
Yeah,
you said that before too.
Yeah.
There's no secrets with them.
No,
The ones that have got secrets and everything, you avoid them like the plague.
Yeah. That's like saddle making. I can't really. I'd love to have a secret. You know, the only, like you said earlier, we're talking to be successful in anything, I think, but in the saddle game, it's just hard work.
Yeah.
Just proper hard. The talent doesn't come into it. It's just proper hard work.
Yeah. You're not born a saddler.
No.
You might see something that inspires you to do those things.
Yeah.
But you just don't sit there picking up a tool as a kid and
Nah.
cutting.
Yeah. And I even, like when I was rodeoing and riding broncs, people say, oh, you got a talent, this and that. I never felt I had any talent. I just worked harder than anyone else. I wanted it more.
Yes.
That was probably the only talent that I had the desire, but I never had the natural ability.
Yeah, that want to. That's a huge
The want to is a big thing. You know, you don't have to be a great horse rider, but if you want to do good at something, you only get out what you put in. So you work harder than anyone else, and you know, it's like a kid. You see a kid with a skateboard at them skate parks, or whatever.
Yes.
If they're right into it, like, man, some of the stunts they do, you'd never do it in a million years, but they're just flipping things and up on them rails and stuff, and because they love it, that's all they want to do.
And you see them do that, but you didn't see the 3,000 times they've fallen off. Their other mates fallen off twice, and you're going, this is a silly idea, I'm going to go play marbles or whatever. But they're going, but I really want this, I want this, I want this.
Yeah.
And
So that's my only secret.
but you have to want to, and you've got to find it, you've got to be genuine about it.
Yeah.
And you've got to be genuine to the person in the mirror, I always say.
Oh,
you can get up in the morning and really look at that person and say, this is what I really want, this is what I'm chasing.
And your realism too, realistically, is a big thing. Like, don't be afraid to look at yourself, especially with the horse game. You know, if there's a really good horse, but it's way too much horse for you, you don't want to go getting on that horse just yet until you're at that level, because it's only going to end in tears. Your horse is going to be way too good for you. He's going to end up in a bad spot, and you are too. You're not going to enjoy it.
No, you don't. You stop feeding those ones; they just stay down in the paddock.
Yeah.
You know, because you've lost interest, and it's sad, and so often. And then don't go the other way. And get something that's got nothing to it, and you're wanting to make it something it's just not capable of being.
No. Well, you hear it a lot, don't you? We get a young horse, we're going to learn together.
Yeah, they soon learn that it shouldn't be done.
Yeah.
That's the learnings out of it. Yeah. This is not such a good idea.
It's like two drunks going and hitting a nightclub, isn't it? Who's leading who? It's a bad result. No. And that's the thing, and I see that so much, is people, you know, we will do that. We'll get a young horse, we'll learn together. You'll learn nothing. No. And I just see some people bought a horse the other day, that 12 to 15-year-old gelding that's been around, done everything. Oh man,
they're gold.
They should be like $300,000 or $400,000 horses. Yep. You know, that's what you ultimately should hunt. I'd love one now just to pull out. You know, you look after them; they last into their 20s.
Well, you know that when you put them in the paddock, you leave them. I don't care if it's 6 weeks, 6 months.
Yeah, I know.
Apart from just feeling the girth on them, but they don't do anything.
I know.
And apart from getting them a little bit fit, if they've been out for a while, that's about all.
Yeah.
Everything else is retained if they've been looked after, etc.
Man, people have some fun. I see the people that do get them, they have some fun when they're beginning into the cutting game or the Western sports game, horse game. Care draft them too, you know. People that have, bit the bullet or got lucky and got them good horses, man, they just go good real quick.
Yeah, they progress.
And you hear that all the time. People say, oh, geez, you've done well. Like, you haven't been in it long, but you've done so well. No, they were smart. The other guy had the same ability with the same level.
Lockie came from nowhere.
Yep, exactly.
That's good. Frank, yourself.
Yeah.
They went and got a decent saddle straight up. They didn't muck around.
Yep.
And to be fair, not everyone has the opportunity to do that either.
No.
If you put yourselves in that position, it's just from strength to strength. So
I think actually my first custom saddle I got built was a bronc saddle. I think Mum owned most of that for a long time. I was only young, but it was one of Eddie's.
Yes.
Yeah. And Bank of Mum and Dad paid it off. But I knew right then I wasn't going to muck about my old stuff. I thought this is what the good guys were using then, and I wanted to be part of that. Figured that so. And it worked for me. It wasn't a bad idea at the time.
absolutely.
And even back then, like I guess early 90s, you know, it was a couple of grand then. It was a lot of money back then.
Oh, to be fair, it's almost still a lot of money now.
Yeah, yeah.
But for what you could actually buy for that
Yeah,
amount, I
yeah.
hear what you're saying. It's things are getting tight now with everything. So
It's amazing, but how a custom saddle holds its value. And just looking back to, I know remember the prices of Eddie's saddles. Well, for instance, that trophy saddle up there was built in '95,
yeah,
and I'm thinking they're about 18 or 2,200 or something,
yes.
maybe 2.5. Like I can sell that for $7,000.
Yeah,
now.
I was just
know,
without
and it's
even
done
saying,
nothing.
I just
It's
nodded,
sat
mate,
up
just
there.
sat there. Yeah,
You know, and so these are because everything's going up.
it's an investment.
So you never sell a good custom saddle cheaper than what you bought it. And I know some of mine have been selling probably more than the people have paid for them. But it's a supply and demand, you know.
It is.
Us
They can't
guys,
afford to wait. They want it
You
today.
don't want to wait.
Wait till someone else
know.
is whatever for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And
Because I said to a lady the other day, they asked me about a second-hand saddle of mine, and they see a few come on Facebook. So I try and grab them myself if I can, but I miss them. You know, one lady told me one went in 5 minutes there
They're
a
hot
couple of months
property.
ago, and I thought, geez, I just need to get so I could get a bargain off myself.
yeah.
You know, one of my saddles, and because you know you're going to sell them.
Oh.
If you're at the right place at the right time, but.
And you're in a position to be in the right place at the right time because people are ringing you up chasing you.
Yeah, that's the thing. They chase it. Well, that's one of the number one questions. How long does it take to make a saddle? Like for me wait time. And have you got any second-hand ones? I said, oh man, I'd be a rich man. If I could make 10 saddles this week, I'd be laughing. Yeah. I could go back to the States for a couple of months.
What is the wait time at the moment? Without being, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we're looking. I try to keep it around that. I'm saying the 10-month to 12-month mark.
Okay.
It can vary, especially through COVID. It near drove us nuts. There was things that were just weird things we were waiting on. I know the glass. There's nearly a shortage in Australia of glass, like fiberglass and fiberglass product. It nearly ceased to a halt. There wasn't even going to be any boats built. Like we use fiberglass and everything, so that was a big thing. And I was lucky.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I only sort of got by some contacts that had
Yes.
stuff. So that was pretty intense there for a bit. But yeah, but everything's sort of rolling good now. Like I know Herman Oak, like Toowoomba Saddlery, who import Herman Oak, they're good. They try and keep a year's supply
Really?
of stuff for us fellas. So if things go bad, we've got about a year and then we're done. If we
Yeah, but
can't
that's
get
a
any more.
lot better than a lot of other organisations.
It's good.
What's on the shelf is what's on the shelf.
Yeah.
And
I don't want to be in a situation where I ring up and there's nothing there, and because I've got to be building each week, and if I don't build next week, well, I don't get paid. That's how it puts you behind.
so where do you see Troy in another 10 to 20 years?
Oh, you know, I'm lucky. I feel fortunate
I like
at what I
that
do.
word, yeah.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I just love it. Listen to me radio, and in the morning I listen to Ray Hadley in the morning and get all fired up about politics like Ray, what he's onto.
I'm not laughing at you, I'm with you, because that's where I came up. I
kids
came a
hate
little
it.
phone, and it's a Ray Hadley 4BC
Yeah.
thing, and that's all I listen to, and I just walk around with that while I'm whatever I'm doing.
And the kids hate it. Like,
Oh, they
if
think
I-
it's atrocious.
If I travel somewhere, and it's early morning, I almost get withdrawals, and it sort of makes me. I've got to listen to Ray, like it's know, because that's sort of what we listen to in the morning. Then in the afternoons, I listen to me American country music, love me country music. So yeah, you just poke along, and yeah, some days here people give me a hard time, my friends, but the two little Chihuahua dogs, they're quiet at the moment. But my wife will be at work and the kids are at school, and it's just me and them hanging out, listening to music, building saddles. And I love it.